Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good day. I have another awesome quality story for my audience. So let's get into this. This story took place about 15 years or so. So let's get into it. So I had a really wonderful great great grandmother that we used to visit every 2 weeks, and we used to help her around the house. So in the summertime, we would mainly cut the grass. We would cut the grass, and me and my siblings would take turns, and our father would teach us how to cut grass, teach us the skills, how to use it, stuff like that, good skills, how to trim the bushes. We rake up the grass. If the grass is really long and it's a summer day and it's been raining a lot, the grass will need cut more than once because the grass is really long. Um, and any stuff around the house, painting, stuff like that, and mainly cutting grass. So we mainly went to her house to cut grass and make her yard look really spectacular. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. Um, we did that probably for quite a bit of years. We did that until um, basically I would say I was in grade. Pretty much once I got to grade 7, I would say it stopped. So I did it for I'd say a good 10 years maybe we did it total since we were younger. So I got a lot of good experience around it, cutting grass, you know, stuff like that, and a lot of good meals and stuff too on top of that. My grandmother, she would cook us a really good meal. Every time it'd be different, but she knew how to combo it to make it different every time. It was really good food. We enjoyed it, but basically we would cut the grass first. We would cut it it would probably take us about 2 hours, maybe three almost, depending on how long the grass is, just depends on how the weather is. There's a few times we went out there and it was kind of rainy out there. Yeah, it was rainy, so sometimes we cut the grass, and some people say cutting grass in the rain's not the best, but we did it anyways. We did it quite a bit. Yeah, it was really awesome. Good exercise, learning how to just learning the skills of lawnmower, learning the skills of everything, everything outside you got to do outside, like it was a really good skill. We did it for quite a bit of time. It's pretty awesome. Our grandmother would spoil us with her way of saying thank you is basically, she would spoil us with chocolate milk. Sometimes she would have like extra treats that she would make for us. We would eat, and an awesome lunch. We did that for a while. It was pretty awesome. We'd help her around the house if she needs it. If anything needs to moved around the house, we would help her. You know, anything that needs fixed in the house, we would help her with that. Stuff like that. We'd help her in any way we could. There was one time when we were younger, my grandmother, when she did have her license before she got it taken away, because when old people get to a certain age, their eyesight's not very good and they can't drive it anymore. Well, my grandmother, she drove us to a farmer type thing, like a farmer. Um, they were selling stuff. It was really cool, and I think it was like my grandmother's friends, so they were selling stuff, and she let us pick out what we wanted, and she'd buy it for us. And I remember picking up a motorcycle that you pump. You have a pump with it. You pump it, and then it drives off. It was really cool. My brother ended up getting a car that sparks inside of the car. It was a really cool vehicle. Um, you know, yeah. So it was pretty awesome. And yeah, we would help her as much as we could. You know, we went in her base. We used to look in her basement. We barely hung out down there when we went down there to look because the basement was super old. There was like the reason why me and my sibling went down there is because there was really cool tools down there that we never seen before, antique tools that we would never see in our daytime. So yeah, it was wild. You get to learn a little bit of how your grandparents were raised, and they were raised in a totally different world. It was totally different back then. It was just different, different generation. The world was different, it was a little different, but it's cool to know stuff like that. it makes you be a little more appreciative when you hear stuff like that. But yeah, overall, it was a really good experience. It taught me hard work, how to cut grass, how to trim bushes, stuff like that. And because I knew that skill, I put it on my resume and it actually helped me out in the long run. It helped me out getting a few jobs, cutting grass and stuff. It was pretty awesome. Um, I'm happy that I learned it. I'm happy I learned the skill because I didn't know when down the road it would help me, but it did help me in some sort of way because I cut it. Then after that, after I was finished that, I knew how to cut grass. I knew the skill. I did it long enough with my parent. He taught me enough I needed to know, basically. Plus, my parents started young too, and they did the same thing. So he was passing on what his parents taught him onto us. So yeah, and then I lucked out after learning all that experience, and I lucked out and cut people's grass in the neighborhood, stuff like that. So it helped me out in the long run. But yeah, so yeah, it was pretty awesome. We did it for the longest time. We spent a lot of time with her. It was awesome. Cutting grass for her. We cut grass so much. I remember when I first started learning how to cut grass, I remember I was so small, I could barely push the lawnmower. And, it was like that for the longest time until I got bigger. And then eventually I could push the lawnmower, myself. But then I had to learn how to do it, there's a certain way angle and a certain way you have to cut the lawnmower. And eventually I got the hang of it. Then it got easy. Then, your father's watching you cut the grass while you do it, and then you guys take turns, and then eventually get to the point where you both want to kind of take over because you both know how to do it. It's pretty easy. It's pretty cut and dry, stuff like that. And my dad was kind of joking around once we got a little older, a little bigger. He told me and my sibling, he's laughing. He says, "You know what? I should take you out. You could ask people to cut their grass you could do it from all day. Do it all day. You apparently could make a lot of money doing that. You could make 1,000. You can make 1,500. You could apparently make good money doing that. You go around asking people if they need the grass cut, make a deal with them, like maybe $5, maybe 10, something like that. And it adds up pretty fast if you do, like, if you say maybe 5 for a cut, then it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. You can get quite a bit. Some people are generous. You'll say it's like 10, but they'll give you a 20. There's a lot of generous people out there. I find there's a lot of old people out there. They're very kind. There's always the old folks that I love talking to because you can always learn a thing from an old person because they've been through life. They have life experience. So I used to get told, if you want to learn any life experience from anyone, always talk to an elder, because an elder's been through life already, knows everything, been through it, so they know how life is. They know what's gonna, they kind of teach you. It's a really good experience. So yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm thankful that I learned how to cut grass. I'm thankful that I get to spend time with my great-great-grandmother, had good time, quality time, a lot of good memories, cutting her grass, just talking to her, learning things. She asks how school's doing, always checking in as grandparents, spoiling us, you know, letting us have ice cream, ice cream, spoiling us, giving us like sweet candy. She always gave us like candy. We used to visit her. She used to give us candy. She used to always have candy. She used to have candy around her, like her dresser stand. She used to have anywhere we go, we'd always see candy around her. Because people like their sweets, right? But some people like it more than others. But thank you for listening to my video. I hope my audience can relate to me in some sort of way. It's the best feeling in the world knowing that people enjoy watching my videos, my story, and people can relate life stories and things they've been through in life and stuff like that. It's best feeling in the world. Thank you for listening to my story. I will be back on Monday with another awesome quality story for my audience. I hope everyone takes it easy, takes it easy day, relax, lives life to the fullest, and I will see you on Monday with another awesome quality video. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.